Well, just got back from another camping trip with our Momentum 25G by Grand Design, and this is about our fourth trip. We're absolutely loving this trailer, but I'm about to unload the machine. I thought I'd take you with me and show you about how I go, strapping the machine down, unloading it, show you how it fits, and answer some other questions that I wish I knew before I bought the trailer, or I had it on order for like, I don't know, 6 weeks, and I was, I was searching the internet trying to find all these questions that I had that I couldn't find anywhere. So maybe I can answer a couple of those questions for you if you're curious as well, and maybe it'll help you in the future if you're looking at buying one of these or got one on order or looking at getting a used one, whatever. Let's take a look at it real quick. The first thing I'm gonna do is let the rear deck down. And it's on spring, so it's really light. You can see I can do this with about one hand. And then we've got the patio kit that we've got to get raised up. And you can also see that I've got the 3-season doors. Now, I couldn't imagine having a toy hauler without the 3-season doors, but there are some things that we need to consider, like the size of your machine, of course. I'm not going to let the gate all the way down just yet. We're going to do some things inside first. But before we go inside, I want to show you a couple things. I've got a Yamaha X4. My machine is 10 feet 2 inches long from the front bumper to the tailgate in its stock condition. Very similar to like a Kawasaki Terex. The Terex is a little bit longer. The Terex is about 10 feet 6 inches, I believe, and the Terex is 1,600 pounds, where the Yamaha X4 is 1,700 pounds. And why that's important, this piece of tape that I put on the trailer, this is the center of the front wheel on the Yamaha X4. And this piece of tape right here is the center of my rear wheel on the X4. Now we're 1,700 pounds with this machine, which means majority of that weight is behind the axles. And that removes tongue weight from our vehicle. And that's important because a lot of people are having sway issues with these machines. The other day I saw a guy, he's got a 4-door General, Polaris General, that fits in here. Now you can't fit a General in there with 3-season doors, there's no way, because he's pretty much from front cabinet, tailgate's almost touching the rear door. However, he pulled it in forward, and the Polarises are more, heavy in the rear. And so the majority of his weight is far back in that trailer. I just don't see how it's going to work with that machine. My X4 is pulled in forward, but the Yamaha X4 is balanced a little better. Okay, so it does remove tongue weight. However, it's easier to pull in forward. Whether I pull that machine in forward or backwards only makes about a 60-pound difference on the tongue weight in the front. And every pound counts in this situation. But the 40, 60 pounds is fine. It works for me to pull it in forward, and I'll show you why, the way it fits under the Happy Jack couches and all. And speaking of sway issues, this trailer was actually advertised as a half-ton towable trailer. And I had a half-ton truck. I'm going to leave a card up here for you. It's actually going to be over here. And that way you can take a look at, the mistake I made. I bought the biggest, 1,500 max tow package, truck with a 6.4 liter 10-speed transmission. The biggest truck I could buy that I thought would be fine pulling this trailer. It's not possible. It's not going to work. I'm sorry. Anyways, I had to trade that truck in. I loved it. So now we got the 2500, and we're almost maxed out on the 2500, believe it or not. I've got CAT scale tickets that maybe we'll go over today, or maybe that'll be a different issue, but we are almost maxed out on that, and we are maxed out on our gross vehicle weight for the trailer. The gross vehicle weight on that is 11.5, and I'm actually a little over that with that 1,700 pound machine in there and all our gear. We're right around that 12,000. So we're overweight already in our trailer. That's just something to consider. And if you're gonna have a trailer that's overweight, you definitely gotta have a truck that's gonna handle it. And this truck does great. It's a huge difference, having the 2500. But still, these are some things to think about. Just like I was talking about the tongue weight. If you got a machine that's too far back, and we're losing tongue weight, that's when we're going to get those sway issues. Like that guy that put a 4-door General in there, he's going to have such a light tongue, he's going to have sway issues. I don't see how he's not. Right now I'm sitting at about 10.5% tongue weight versus gross vehicle weight, and that's where you want to be. You have to be over 10% to kind of avoid the trailer sway, so 10% of the gross vehicle on the tongue. And those are numbers that many people explain very well on YouTube. There's other channels that can explain it to you a lot better than I can. But I had to do some rearranging and some situating to get that tongue weight right to where I didn't have any sway. And another thing that made a big difference in towing this trailer is if you can see, I've actually got a little nose down on the front of the trailer. So it's higher in the rear, nose down. Generally, I like to pull my trailers level. I think they look better. It just seems like it tows better, but in this case, it did not. When I was pulling this level, I got too much porpoising on the truck and I was getting more sway. So I just lowered the hitch 1 notch to bring the nose of that trailer down a little bit. Yeah, it doesn't look ideal. I'd like them to look level too, but that made a huge difference. Just dropping the hitch a little bit, a little nose down on the trailer, made a world of difference in towing this thing. All right, enough of that. Let's go inside and take a look. All right. So this is the kind of stuff that I really wish I knew, and it fits fine. There's no problem. I just, this is information I wanted when I was looking at buying this trailer. So you can see with the X4 pulled in here how much room I have, on this side of the trailer, just enough to squeeze my butt through there to get back to the 3 season doors. Now we've got 3 tie downs in the front and 3 tie downs in the rear, and I utilize all of them. Any tie down I can to keep this machine straight, to keep it from moving around. I haven't had any problems with it moving, but use every tie down you can. Now, this is the kitchen slide out, and you can see I currently have this slide out. That's the way I load and unload the machine, with the slide out. And then after I get it loaded, I'll bring the slide back in because I can get in and out of the driver door here real easy. Another toy hauler that a friend of mine has, once you pull it in, you can't get in and out of the doors because he does not have this kitchen slide. So he literally has to squeeze out of a door and squeeze out the back. It's very difficult. The Grand Design Momentums, they come with the 2 recliners, and they fit perfectly right there. It's pretty tight between the tire, but I haven't had any issues with that. I usually throw a moving blanket over them just to keep them from rubbing, but no problem. And what's great about putting the recliners right there is, see the arm on the recliner, this slide comes in that same width. So if the machine will slide past the recliners, then your slide is going to close with no problem. So that's why we put the recliners back there, and there's really no other option. You can see how close the front bumper is to the front cabinet, and we thought it would be possible to put the recliners here kind of in the front hallway, but then you can't get in and out of the door. They don't fit well. We really like the recliners. I would take them out if I didn't, but that's really the only spot they're going to fit, right there. Okay, look at the height of my machine. I got the Happy Jacks up, and that's another thing about putting the recliners right here, because these couches will fold against the wall. However, if I fold this side against the wall, then the recliners won't fit there with the machine width. So if your machine's too tall, you can't let those down and have the recliners. You run out of room. So that's something else I wish I knew, because my machine just fits in underneath those Happy. I mean, it's tight, but it does fit without hitting. Now, that's pulling in forward. If I was to back this machine in, that's another reason I don't back it in, because the angle of the machine, when you back it up the ramp, the back of my roof is so high that it really hits those Happy Jack couches, and there's just no way it'll fit in backing in. We have to let them down against the wall, and there's still no room to put those. That's the only place the recliners will go when your machine's loaded. Now let's kind of take a look at the rear. And like I said, I cannot imagine having a toy hauler without these 3 season doors. Now if you had a larger, like a 5th wheel type, or basically a toy hauler with a separate garage, where you're not utilizing that space as much for living area, then, you know, the 3-season doors might not be that big of a deal. But for us, you can see the amount of room we have, you know, from the back of the machine to the 3-season doors. But for us, having these doors and able to let that gate down and bring the glass up, and this being our living area, it just makes a world of difference. Like I said, I could not imagine having a toy hauler where this is a living space without these 3-season doors. 3-season doors got their issues themselves. We'll go over that later. Just know they're not perfect. They're not weather tight. There's gaps, there's holes, there's things that need to be fixed. You know, these are factory installed, but there's still some things I'm gonna have to do to get them, you know, working properly. Now, what I gotta do is get the machine unstrapped. Now you can see, we do have to lay down, do some crawling around. But before we unstrap the rear, we have to unlock the 3-season doors. I almost forgot. That's why we need enough space here for me, just so I can squeeze my butt through here. Usually when the kids are out here helping me, I'll have them squeeze through here. Let's see, the 3-season door is locked here in the center. So we have to pull the lock off to open them up. And again, 3 tie downs, one over there, metal, one over there. Utilize every tie down you can. And with the 3-season doors slid open like this, there's a small strap in here we pull, and the doors swing open like that. Now we just let our ramp down and our machine's ready to unload. And whether I'm on gravel, concrete, asphalt, it don't matter. I use a moving blanket right up under the tail of the gate here. It's got little bumpers on it, but I've still put small scratches on the top of the gate. So I used wood blocks, but with the way the bumpers are, the wood wasn't working. It was flex. I didn't like the way it worked. Moving blanket is what works for me. Now the machine's out, I'm gonna shut the 3-season doors. Make sure they're shut before you try to lift this gate up. I've made that mistake once or twice. Okay, this is a 2021, and from what I understand, 2021 was the first year that Grand Design started putting the weatherproof rear decks on this. Now, other people, they say they have the weatherproof deck, but for some reason they're still getting water inside of them, and I'm not sure where that water is coming from. They might be in a more rainy environment. We're in the desert, I don't get much rain. But you can see the dirt from the tires and stuff, and us just walking around. So what I do is I just let this gate all the way down, and I just take my hose and just lightly just wash it off, get that dust off, and get this deck looking like new again. Just keep it clean and take care of it. And I haven't had any issues with water getting inside the ramp. I don't know if it's an issue or they just had some faulty ramps or the way the holes are drilled. I don't know. I can't answer that question. All I can tell you is that I have not had an issue hosing down this deck. Works for me. So looking inside the trailer, you can see that I've got an 8x10 area rug. Just a cheap, relatively inexpensive rug that I got from Home Depot, because I want my floor protected. I don't want the tires of, I've got a golf cart too, so whether I've got the golf cart in here or the side-by-side or one of the motorcycles, bicycles, I don't want those tires on our floor. You know, it's a heavy-duty floor, kind of a vinyl covered, but I don't want those black marks. I don't want to take any chances of scratching the floor. You know, a pebble or a little rock or something get under the tires while you're turning. I don't want to take that chance. 8x10 area rug. And my machine never gets muddy. It does get dusty, so we just vacuum this off every so often and don't have any issues. Like I said, 8x10, so I roll it over just so it fits, you know, just enough to get on this side of the recliners, and that way we know the slide in comes right up to it. But now I can move the recliners and what I do is I just roll this rug down and it actually tucks underneath the slide. Just so nice. I mean, it's like it was made for it. And that way our whole floor is protected even when we're living in here without the side-by-side, just the kids running around, spilling, dog, whatever. Our floor stays protected. We love this rug. Now, disadvantage of the rug is it does cover up our center tie downs, which I don't use. You saw how whether the golf cart or the side-by-side, I just use the front and rear tie downs. And also it covers the holes for the poles for the table that goes right here. And this is the fold-out table we use that I was just telling you about. I mean, it's so light, so easy to maneuver, so easy to store. You don't have to worry about pulling those poles out of the ground. That really sucks. So I just pop this open. Legs out. It fits perfectly between our couches. Plenty of room to sit in between them, to eat. You know, so that's what the living space looks like with our table, our couch down, and we kind of readjust these recliners. They're comfortable. We use them, but you know, and then the bed comes down to about right here. I'm not going to let it down right now because we got to run the couches all the way back up, but it comes down to here. And when you're sitting, for me, you know, I'm 6'1", and I got about 3-4 inches of head space over that. It's kind of cramped, but you do not hit your head when that is lowered while we're eating dinner, breakfast, or whatever, or just playing card games here at this table. So I just wanted you to see what the interior looked like with the 3-season doors being able to close off from the elements. They're not weatherproof by any means. However, it keeps the bugs out, the dust out, and it kind of keeps it cool. You know, during the day, if it's 95 degrees, 100 degrees out, you're not going to be able to keep the trailer cool with just the 3-season doors. You're going to have to close the ramp, in our experience anyways. But in the mornings and afternoons, we love that view of the all glass 3-season doors. And then we can open them up, go out there and sit on the patio, you know, and keep the doors closed to keep the bugs out and dust and all that. So like I said, I cannot imagine having a toy hauler without those doors. I absolutely love them. Are they perfect? No. Do they need work? Yes. That's going to be another video where we're going to work on these doors. They need a lot of work. They're even factory installed. Anyways, I think that's all we're going to go over today on this trailer. We got a lot more to look at and a lot more to do. There's a few other things that we've got to fix after our last trip. Nothing major, But that's just part of owning a camper trailer. You have to be handy. You have to fix the small things. You just have to know how to be able to fix these small things, because you can't drop it off at your, everybody's so backlogged now. Are you going to drop it off at your trailer or at the dealer because, you know, of something that you can fix yourself in 20 minutes, expecting them to do it under warranty? Even a gas regulator, if it goes bad, people's dropping them off, waiting for their, complaining that it's taken 4 weeks to replace a, buy you a $30 gas regulator. What I'm saying is, be handy. Don't expect your dealer to fix everything for you. As awesome as this trailer is, there's just a few small things that I don't blame anybody. I don't blame Grand Design or, you know, the other manufacturers that Grand Design uses to build it. It's just part of owning a trailer. Learn to fix it, learn to love it, enjoy life. Thanks for watching. We're going to check out these doors and some other parts of the trailer in a later video, so stay tuned.